prayer.
Lord, we're thankful today for your protective hand. Thankful for your goodness and your mercy. We ask you today, Lord God, to be with this court, to touch our minds and hearts and help us to do what is right in your eyes and pleasurable to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. We'll call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, and it's 9 a.m. We do have a quorum. I'd like to acknowledge all the guests that are here. I'll open up public hearing, and I think Mr. Norton.
Yes, sir.
You,
Yeah.
Am I recognized?
you are recognized.
Very much so.
All right, I've got that. Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge. Looking over the agenda, and there were a couple items on there that kind of got my attention. Number one, line item 14, which Commissioner Powell placed on there regarding FEMA and FEMA. So I said, well, let me find out what's going on with FEMA, because over the years I've had a lot of heartburn and issues with the process. So I called Bubba, and of course Bubba's a very, very good friend of mine. Many of you know him. So he could kind of let me know what was going on there with that thing. Kind of try to explain it to me, which can be difficult with me. And my understanding, what he told me, and normally he pretty much knows what he's talking about, is on the FEMA money. In the past, it has been told to me, and the way that I understood it is that in order to get that FEMA money, you had to spend it first and then you got reimbursed. Well, according to what he told me, that is not correct. And if that be the case, folks, we missed out on millions and millions of dollars. And this don't go back 4 years. This don't go back 10 years. This goes way, way back. Somewhere over a long period of time, we've been missing the boat. We have missed the boat with millions and millions of dollars. I have had commissioners sit on my porch and I've quizzed them on that subject. What about these millions of dollars that we can get from FEMA? FEMA's been out here with you riding all over these roads. Oh, Mr. Norton, you don't understand. We had to have it to spend first, then they reimburse us. That's how that works. Man, I even went as far as, how can you miss out on millions of dollars? Can't you take out a low interest loan or something, do the work, then pay it, whatever, but you can't. Well, that's just, how it is. We don't have to spend. But according to what Mr. Powell told me, or Bubba, that is not the case. So I'll tell you what, in the past, and this goes way back, whoever, judges, grant managers, attorneys, whoever, we have missed the boat, folks. Have missed the boat. And it's also that my understanding that Precinct 3, that the ex-commissioner there chose not to even file for any FEMA money. Really, I don't understand that. But I'm glad to know that we got it straight, that these commissioners now can file and get that money and don't have to have the money on top if my information is correct. And like I say, I have no reason to believe it's not. And also line item, I believe it's number 9 on the equipment. On the right one?
No, sir.
Which one's on the equipment?
Which one are you talking about? 11? There's 11 and 12 on equipment.
I think it's 12 and 13. 13.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
12. Gonna be selling off some equipment. Now, unless I'm wrong, and our friend or have been misinformed, in the past, commissioners bought their equipment out of the general fund. I could be wrong, and I stand corrected if necessary. But it was recently discovered that no, that was not correct, that they're supposed to buy their equipment out of their budget. So my question, am I wrong? Somebody's wrong. So if that is a correct statement, then in my opinion, this equipment that is going to be auctioned off or sold was more than likely bought out of the general fund. Therefore, that money, in my opinion, should be placed back in the general fund where it came from. My opinion. So,
Well, that's a touchy subject there, because of the fact it was actually bought out of debt services, which with taxes, when we get the allotment amount of taxes, what they did in the past was they would take whatever the commissioners had wanted to buy, and they would basically submit it in for debt service to reimburse their precinct for that equipment. So it comes out of, I guess you would say, the debt service amount, the total taxes, then debt services, and then it divides up 85% to the general fund and 15% to the road and bridge. So we would have to go back and we would have to really do some research on that to determine where that money really would have to go, because they are the ones that actually bought the equipment, or they the ones that, I would say, the commissioners at the time bought the equipment, and it was paid for, reimbursed out of taxes, which was debt services, just the way I had said. It goes from your amount of taxes, then it would break down from the debt services, and then the division of general fund. So we would have to go back and do a lot of research on that.
be honest, most of that went.
Yeah,
But there's
well,
nothing-
we did.
There's nothing up here to stop it. That's not your fault, that's my fault.
Yeah, but I don't know that I didn't understand it, I explained it correctly, but that's the way it is.
Yes, ma'am.
It comes out of the lump sum of the taxes, and then you go down and divide
Yes,
85 per, and then they have a road and bridge general.
Yes, ma'am. Well, that, you know, that even goes back to the part of the prison money that kept coming in, and the prison done been shut down for years. Can we go back and get that money back from the commissioners? And I'm told, well, no, we can't determine what. So anyway, but the FEMA deal, folks, hey, whoever done the research, whatever, that is great. That's great news, but I just hate we lost out on that money over the years. Thank you. Pardon me. Thank you.
And Mr. Darton, we can't talk back to you right now, not
Yes,
supposed to, but we'll
yes,
talk
ma'am.
more about that when we get to that line item.
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have anybody else set up to speak? All right, we'll close the public hearing. We'll go to the consent agenda. We got the minutes from the previous meetings. Yes, you've got them all caught up. Do we have any, we've got all the departmental reports. Courtney, do we have any deputations or bonds? Or continuing education certificates?
We have one for you.
Okay. Well, thank you. I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda.
Second motion.
All right, motion made by me, second by Commissioner White. All in favor? All against? All right, we'll deliberate and consider action on the following items. Item number 1, selection of requests for proposals for Newton County Bank Depository Contract. And that's Ms. Ginger.
I got this one, Bert.
Oh,
I've never had them in these big boxes, so I don't have a clue what's in here. So they were sealed, so I guess y'all have to open them and we see what's in them. Y'all have a pocket knife.
Dude, but there may be a snake in it.
I'm scared.
Do you want to do that now?
well, that's what I was thinking.
They come in time.
They come in on time. We need to go over them.
Who are those from, Ginger?
This one is First Financial Bank, our
That's our current.
current, and then this is from Stellar, the one that's across the street.
Okay.
So do we need,
They probably made y'all copies, is why there's so many. in there.
yes,
So I don't know how y'all want to do this.
we can go ahead and open it. You got a knife?
Can we move it to the end, Judge?
Yeah.
I'll open it while you keep going.
All right. We'll go, we'll go to item number 2. Approve proclamation honoring the members of the Mennonite Disaster Service for the rebuilding of 24 homes in Newton and surrounding counties. All right, the Mennonite Disaster Service, along with Harvest Call, came to Newton and Jasper County after the 2024 flood. Their group has, 10 homes They have rebuilt, and helped a lot of people, come along and get back going. So I want to read this proclamation. Whereas the communities of Newton and Jasper faced devastating flooding in April 2024, leaving many families displaced and homes severely damaged. And in the wake of this disaster, the dedicated members of the Mennonite Disaster Services answered the call to serve, bringing their skills, compassion, and unwavering commitment to those in need. And through their tireless efforts, the volunteers of the Mennonite Disaster Service has worked diligently to rebuild homes, restore hope, and strengthen the bonds of our community. And their selfless service has provided not only physical reconstruction, but also emotional and spiritual support to families struggling to recover from the impact of the flooding. And the hard work and generosity of the Mennonite Disaster Services has made a profound and lasting difference in the lives of those affected, demonstrating the power, faith, and unity and service to others. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we do hereby recognize and express our deepest gratitude to the members of the Mennonite Disaster Service for their outstanding contributions to the recovery and rebuilding efforts in Newton and Jasper County, and that their dedication and humanitarian spirit serve as an inspiration to us all, reminding us of the strength that comes from working together and support our neighbors in times of need. So that's the proclamation for the Mennonite Disaster Services. And I like to say, I'd like to thank them for their hard work and dedication to helping rebuild the Newton County. So, do we need to take a vote on that? Okay, I was thinking. All right, I'm gonna make to put this proclamation for the Mennonite Disaster Services. I'll make a motion to accept this proclamation.
I'll second.
All right, motion made by me, second by Commissioner Benson. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Oh, I got to read some more. All right. Item number 3, it's approved proclamation declaring April 2025 as Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. All right. All right, would y'all like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Instead of reading that. So I want to thank Newton County. Y'all are very, very supportive for our CASA. My name's Lori McGee with CASA for being Nation's Region. And anytime we have something going on, the community of Newton always shows up. So we appreciate that. We had in 2024, there was 53,543 victims of child abuse and neglect. There were 21 in Newton County. We had 99 deaths across the state of Texas. Thankfully, none in Newton County, but that's what our, out on the lawn, our pinwheels represent the number of children that lost their lives due to abuse or neglect in the state of Texas. We will do our vigil on the courthouse square on April 15th.
Yes. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna go ahead and read the proclamation.
So much.
Whereas, in fiscal year 2024, the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services confirmed 53,543 victims of child abuse or neglect, including 21 in Newton County. And our children are our most valuable resources and shape our future. And child abuse and neglect are serious problems affecting every segment of our community and has long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that can have lifelong consequences for victims. Additionally, the impact of abuse and neglect has long-term personal, economic, and social costs, therefore hurting the future of our community, and prevention remains the best defense for our children and families. Finding solutions requires input and action from everyone in our community, and we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families. Court-appointed special advocates, CASA volunteers, are assigned by the court to speak up for the child's best interest and help ensure a child's voice is heard. Every child in foster care deserves a CASA volunteer, but roughly less than half the children in care do not have a volunteer. And CASA of the Sabine Nature's Reason, Child Protective Services, Child Advocacy Centers, foster parents, teachers, and others work to ensure that children in our community have a safe, happy future. Now, therefore, I, Ronald Cochran, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month in Newton County, Texas, and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. And thank you all very much for all you do.
Yes, thank you. You know, thinking about that, Judge, thinking about our sheriff's department and our DA's office, you know, and the cases they handle in that, I can't imagine the things they see and hear, and God bless y'all for doing that and carrying that burden. That's a huge burden for law enforcement. Certainly what you do. Appreciate all of them.
All right. I'd like to make a motion approving April 2025 as Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month.
Second.
All right. I made a motion. Commissioner Hobson, second. All in favor? All against? All right. Item number 3, approve donation of unsold vehicles from Sheriff's Department to the Burkeville Volunteer Fire Department, including a 2017 Ford F-150, a 2018 Ford Interceptor.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Back in February, I come before the board asking to sell a list of vehicles. And I spoke with Chief Duckworth, Burkeville Volunteer Fire Department, and he's interested in 2 of those vehicles. They're older, got high mileage on them. You guys were generous enough to let us purchase 4 vehicles. And, you know, I feel that's my way of giving back to the community, our way of giving back to the community and our volunteer fire departments. They do a lot for our communities. So I'd like to see those put into good use. They're gonna have to be some repairs,
Yes.
but I would like to see those put in good use for the north end of our county.
Okay. One of them is the 2018 Ford Explorer.
Yes, sir. That was the old K-9
Yeah.
vehicle, and it's gonna have to have some work to it. It's outfitted for a dog. Equipment and hardware is gonna have to come out, and it's gonna have to be, you know, obviously seats and stuff put back in it. It's got 216,000 miles on it, 217, so got a lot of miles on it. So
Yes. And the other one, I think it needs transfer.
transmission, possibly a bumper. It's definitely seen better taste.
Yes.
So
It's just, is Misty here? Thought I'd seen her come in. We're good to do this, Misty?
no,
Okay, so you're just wanting to donate?
to donate it
And I
to
know that
the
we
fire department.
talked about that, you and I talked about it, and I know I looked at it. So my recollection was that it was fine too, because they're another governmental.
Right. So I think what we discussed is whether I could just transfer it or bring it before Commissioner's Court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it needs to go before.
Yeah, yes. Okay, I remember that conversation and I remember looking at it and yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
With that being said, I'll make the motion that gives the donation of the unsold vehicles that Sheriff Havard has pointed out, 2017, 2018.
Second.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Powell, second by Commissioner Hobson. All in favor? All against? All right. We'll move to item number 5. Is approved purchase of new camera system for Newton County Jail.
So back in October, Sheriff Irby and I started working on trying to get jail cameras in the jail. We have been in contact with several different representatives and companies that do that. I've consulted with Shannon Pontier, and I think the best one for us to go with is it's an all new digital version. We've got multiple cameras out back there right now, and this is they're going to install new cameras in the jail. This is actually going to be kind of the latest and greatest for our correctional officers back in the jail. They're going to have to replace all the old analog wires to a new digital system. One of the issues with going back an analog system is all the wiring is so old in that building, and we need to, this is capable to do things that we need to do. And if you would notice, it's $53,000, but if you would notice, the installation is just about half of the price, about $25,000. It's due to having to drill through the concrete and stuff like that, actually, wire everything in. Shannon said that.
Yeah, one of the previous, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you go ahead.
One of the previous bids I seen was 56, and that was with some of the old analog stuff.
Yeah.
So this is actually a better camera system than the previous bid I've seen.
Right. And something I'd like to note is back in February, I come before the board asking for the money in 24 to be rolled over into the 2025 budget. And that's actually where this money is going to come from. It's going to come out of the previous budget from last year that wasn't used.
So you was talking about other bids. How many bids did you get total on this, Sheriff?
4 or 5.
And this was the cheapest or not the
No,
cheapest?
this is not the cheapest, but we could go a cheaper route and just put a Band-Aid on it. But the best thing to do is just go a new, spend the money, spend it once, and we don't have to worry about it in the future. But if we were to ever have to move, probably within the next 5 years or so, this could actually be removed and put into a new facility. This will give us camera footage outside of the building that we don't currently have, and our recreational yard that we don't have, and the kitchen that we don't have. So it'll enhance the safety a lot. Like I said, the money's actually going to come out of the last year's budget.
Well, Sherry, didn't we approve last year to replace the camera system?
No, we've been approving it. We've been discussing this over and over and it just not.
What?
coming back.
Well, and it
Not
was
the cameras.
my understanding that it was approved, but due to the fact it's over $50,000, it has to come up with court. So that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, and that's why I asked the questions. So we're following our procurement policy because it doesn't have to be the lowest bid.
Right, exactly.
The department head can justify the bid, and you've done that, especially when you said you got Shannon Pontier involved in it because he's proven himself a very valuable resource to the county. I know we had cameras on the south end that we bought and put in place since I've been in office. Nothing like what you're doing. We bought them for 2.5 weeks with the company we bought them from. We got some other people in, and Shannon come down and got them working within an hour.
Yeah.
It was amazing, so.
And one other thing I'd like to add, Shannon's been my kind of the liaison between the sheriff's office and MHC Datacom, and trying to save some money. We reached out to MHC with a different brand of cameras, and they're like, hey, this will save you a little bit of money, but we don't use them. So we can't stand behind them, this and that. But these particular cameras, model and brand here, they will stand behind. So it's the best route to go.
How long is the warranty?
I don't know that. Don't know how long the warranty is. I can find out, but they're, like I said, they're tried and true, guaranteed.
I make the motion, we approve the purchase of the new camera system for the Newton County Jail, since we've already agreed to transfer the fund balance from 24. It's not creating a new expense.
All right, motion made by Commissioner White.
I second it.
Second by Commissioner Benson. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right, item number 7. Consider and take action concerning the Newton Housing Authority's 2025 waiver of payment in lieu of taxes. Now, the Housing Authority, they've never been taxed on their housing units.
Number 6, Judge, I'm so sorry. We need to do number 6.
Did I miss number 6? I sure did. I'm sorry. Number 6, authorized to advertise requests for proposals to obtain insurance coverage for Newton County to include property coverage, general liability, auto physical damage, auto liability, law enforcement liability, and public official liability insurance coverage. So this is, we go out every year for insurance, and it's set time this year. We got to request proposals for insurance coverage for Newton County.
I have a question on this. I don't know if the auditor's office, asset manager, who can, but the equipment the commissioners have, is that equipment insured? Because I've been told it is, and I've been told it isn't.
Yeah, it's insurance.
So it's insured from the standpoint of if we had a piece of equipment on a job and we had a rainstorm come up, we left it there and went back, and while we were gone, it burned to the ground. So it would be insured, replaced.
Yes, it's under every piece of equipment or truck or anything that we get, we send it to Courtney. Courtney gets it added on insurance. Full coverage, full coverage.
And that's important because when you buy a piece of equipment like we're doing now, they try to sell you an additional insurance policy. Yeah, we didn't do it, but okay, thank you.
So, this is our yearly, we got a notice from the insurance company that they were dropping coverage.
They may not
They may not renew.
Was that TAC or who was that?
cross cover.
No.
Illinois, maybe.
Yeah, England. So they're saying that
They may not. They reserve the right to refuse it.
Yeah, that's who all are.
So that's why we're getting a little bit earlier start than what we usually do with it, so we can maybe try to reach out.
How are you gonna do that? Is your office gonna handle this?
Yes. And we only have one insurance company right now that hit on property.
That was them.
Yeah.
Do we have a high number of claims or something? Where are they having?
It happens. A lot of loss, a lot of claims.
But we haven't had any, we haven't had any claims in
They never bought.
3 years.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I'm wondering, if there's something going on with that insurance company.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we can even try to go back out and see what TAC will even try to pick us back up. It's been a few years, you know?
But I'm also wondering if that wasn't just a generalized letter that they send every year, just to reserve the right to refuse whoever their service.
Because we're gonna have to go out anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
We definitely-
we're just gonna go out earlier.
Look at all of that, yeah.
Well, I appreciate the judge's office getting on this early because, in the past, since I've been on court, we've had a few times where it's come up right quick. We had to make a decision all at once. So
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and make the motion that we authorize to advertise requests for proposals to obtain insurance coverage.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Powell,
A second.
second by Commissioner White. All in favor?
Uh,
All right, now we move to item number 7. Consider and take action concerning the Newton Housing Authority's 2025 waiver of payment in lieu of taxes. And the housing authority is non-taxable, or, we're not charging any county tax, but they have a letter that goes in their file every 5 years stating that. So, and it's coming up for a 5-year renewal of the letters. I need authority to, I spoke to the tax office and they've never been taxed. So, we need a letter stating that the county will not be taxing the housing authority. So, I need a motion to approve the letter concerning the Newton Housing, well, I'll make a motion concerning the Newton Housing Authority's 2025 waiver payment in lieu of taxes.
Second.
All right, motion made by me, second by Commissioner Hobson. All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
Pass that down for you guys to sign. Yeah.
All right, item number 8 is authorized to advertise requests for proposals for independent auditor to audit Newton County financials for fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 24.
And Judge, I had mistakenly put Miss Sherry's name behind this, but this is actually her.
Yes.
Sorry.
Now, I'd like permission to go out, send out proposals for outside auditing firms to hopefully catch Newton County up on its external audits. I'd like to go out for proposals for the 23-24 year. 23 was due in September. 24 is due this September. So, and we're still waiting on our current auditor for the 22.
Yeah, it's supposedly completed. It's just, can't get here till May to,
Is it on the clearinghouse?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it on the clearinghouse at all. I don't know if y'all.
So our current auditor is keeping us 3 years behind, so I would like to get another audit firm to catch us up.
Is that just to catch us up, or are we switching?
I'd like, if they catch us up, just keep going, you know.
It needs to be done. I mean, they all three should be done this year. I mean,
And all the stuff's ready for 23 to start, and except for the journal entries, end of the year journal entries that's supposed to be submitted to us from 22 to 23. And then we add those and that all the stuff in the shared file, ready to be audited.
So Ms. Moore, so just thinking out loud here, who is the responsible party for completing the audits? Is it the court, the judge in the court?
The commissioner's court hires the audit.
So who is our point person? I think last year we talked about Courtney being our point person on, because, you know, you sit here today and speak like you do have a lot of knowledge where we're at and all these things, but really you're the one being audited, right? Because you audit us.
But I have to supply the information.
Right. So but that should be the end of it. You shouldn't be the person coordinating it and setting it all up because you're being audited. Newton County's being audited and your job is to keep us in line.
Right.
So the outside auditor is in fact auditing you and the job you do here, right?
Right. And that's why the commissioner's court hires him.
And that's why we hire them. So do we not already have Courtney set up as this person, Judge, or have we officially done that? Or Misty, I mean,
You've been communicating with, the auditor, and that's how, Sherry knows that he's supposed to be done. That was communicated to her.
Yes. And that's how
do we have a contract with this other one still? Or does it run that?
the engagement letter for 23, I don't know. Courtney, you would have to find, I mean, it would have been brought to court and I don't know. Courtney, you have to answer that. Because that comes to the judge's office.
I've looked several times. I do not think that it's been signed for 2023. It went up to be put on the agenda several times, but it's never approved or never put on there because he hadn't finished the year before.
Yes.
So I don't believe that there has been. I will double check that.
I don't think it's been signed.
Because if there's an engagement letter, you can't.
We know we don't have an engagement letter already.
I
I'm,
don't think so, but I'll.
I'm 99% sure we don't have an engagement letter.
I don't think so, but we can go back through and make sure in the minutes that there was such a, but I don't recall that.
I think for me, I mean, I'm supportive of the recommendation. I just, we got to know with a certain, no doubt that we haven't already engaged. And then secondly, we just need to recognize that the cost is going to drastically increase, which probably money well spent because we're behind and we're not getting money because we're behind.
Yeah. Being behind on our financial audits knocks us out of competition for some of the FEMA grants.
Right.
Some of the grants that are available. So unless we catch up, we're actually going to lose out.
I just brought that up because it's not something that we haven't talked about. I want everyone to know. We recognize we're going to pay a lot more money for another auditor, more than likely. We don't know that, but more than that.
And the fact, a new company gonna have to get all that information started going back years back, aren't they?
Yeah, they'll have to go back and at our past audits, so where they can get their.
So that's gonna be additional cost. I think cost should be the driving factor. I mean, yeah, we want to move forward and we're not satisfied with the pace in which we're going. And like Commissioner Powell was saying, we got to make absolute sure that we hadn't already committed. Because I do remember some talk about him going ahead because we informed him that we were behind and we needed to. And I think that's when we got the response from him that he was retiring from his practice and he was just gonna keep Newton County and a couple of others so that he could get faster.
The last communication I seen was, we had the audit, but this was in February, but, he wasn't gonna be available till May. So from February to,
And I think I did respond to that. I think that I did respond and said, will you please put it on the clearinghouse? I copied all of,
yes.
regardless if he comes to the court or not, as long as it's on the clearinghouse, we're up to speed for that year.
Yeah, that's my point. I think what we need is the county attorney's office or the judge's office being the point person for all matters, even if it's a request of information. If they say, we need this from the auditor's office, it needs to go to the county judge's office, to the DA's office, and then route it to the auditor's office. Because I think the perception is the auditor's office is dragging their feet on this a little bit, when the reality of it is it's not internal at all. It's external, and that's why the judge is doing what he's doing here today. But you're being audited, you don't need to be engaged. Judge, do you want to table it until we have that absolute 100% certainty and then come back to it, or do you want to do something today?
Well, I would like to, make a motion to word it to where if we do find a 2023 engagement letter, we go for 2024 external audit. Because it'll be this time next year or later, waiting on the 2023 audit when it's 2 years behind. So I'm pretty certain we didn't do the 2023 engagement letter.
Would you be happy if we make a motion just for today to go ahead and seek someone else or go open for bids for the 24? And then if we find that we don't have it, I guess we can do that, right? Put it in the motion if we find we don't have it. Okay.
I think we can.
So I'll make the motion.
could authorize those, but conditions in 2023, you know,
Right.
it maybe not do it for a week, maybe, do the request for proposals in a week and give
Give us time
whoever
to,
a week to verify the 2023.
So I'll make the motion. We authorize the request for proposals for independent auditor for 2023 and 2024 with the certainty that we haven't already had a 2023 letter of commitment for however long it takes to get that. Second.
all right, motion made by Commissioner Powell, second by Commissioner Hobson, all in favor? All against? All right, item number 9, approved contract with Goodwin, Lassiter and Strong Engineering for generator work on the Mauriceville Municipal Utility District. All right, this is on the grant that was approved for Mauriceville Mud for the generator, and the GLS has done the engineering work or is doing the engineering work. But the county just has to approve the contract for their work.
In this contract, this is a 10% match on a $100,000 project. The match is being provided by MUD. So this is a contract that provides benefits to Newton County residents at no cost to the residents due to the good neighbor and Mauriceville Utility District. So I make the motion that we approve the contract with GLS for the engineering of the generator.
All right, motion is made by Commissioner Powell. Second by Commissioner Benson. All in favor? All against? All right. Item number 10. Authorized to advertise requests for proposals for work to be done on County Road 3062. And that's on the TDM Harvey 4332 HGMP grant. And Nick, do you have anything on that?
This is a TDM grant that was started back in 2018, an application. We finally have gotten to a point where TDM has authorized us to go out for bids, for construction bid, on this road in precinct 1. It's a road that floods, it's a dead end road. People get stranded on the other side of the floodwaters. We've been out for bid before on this. So this was in Commissioner's Court years ago. Because of 2020 COVID, but everything cost a whole lot more. We weren't able to fund it back then. We've attained additional funding from TDM for this. And I wanted to bring it back before court to get approval again, because a lot of the court's taking a lot of new faces on court.
Yeah.
But if y'all approve it, we'll be in the paper next week. We'll follow state bid law, get this thing opened up, hopefully under construction this time.
Yes.
I have a question. You made the comment that we have an additional funding available now. How did you find that out? Who told you that?
The grant administrator,
Who is the grant administrator?
Trailer.
Okay. We're gonna talk more about that when we get to the 14 item, but we're sitting here as a county. You're coming to us telling us stuff that we don't know about potential funding. And we're thankful for that and for Trailer and Associates work, but just seems like we should know that.
All right. I need a motion to authorize or to request for proposals for work to be done on County Road 3062.
I'll make that.
All right. Commissioner Benson made the motion. Commissioner White has second.
Need it.
Yes.
I bet you do.
In
April, they was flooded in for over a month. And the judge and I, we caught a lot of.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right. Thank you, Nick. Item number 11, discussing if appropriate, approved to change County Road 2071 to private road 6085. Request received from landowners, and that's Tristan Delta Wood, Jimmy and Kathy Poplin, and Dustin and Kim Poplin. They're the landowners on the road. So that's in Phillips precinct.
Yes, Miss Trister and Woods came to court back in March 11, and she requested, or she spoke during the public hearing and talked about all the issues that they have in their road. And it's more or less a driveway that has these 3 homes on it and 3 properties. And they all signed paperwork saying that they were agreed. They all wanted to make that a private road because they was getting a lot of unwanted traffic and whatnot. And so with it being just a little over 1/10 of a mile, we did all the paperwork and went through 911 mapping and all that stuff. And we talked with the DA's office, and they got the paperwork, right? Then you have,
Okay, I haven't seen.
you didn't have to get the letters.
No, it's the letter from.
Okay, we have the letters. You have the information. Okay, sure. But anyhow, they all have written letters saying, that they approve of it. We don't see any reason why. I know there are situations where we don't want, we got a dead end driveway and it's just right off the main road. We don't want unnecessary traffic in there all the time. So, right, which is a good thing. But anyway, we've got all the paperwork, and like I said, we've done the mapping with 911, did everything required. And we're just going through court as that's the requirements that we approve it through court. And that we can deem that road a private road. We won't have to maintain it.
You support it, right thing to do? I make the motion that we make the road, private road as requested by Commissioner White.
Second.
All right, motion is made by Commissioner Powell, second by Commissioner Hobson. All in favor? And all against? All right.
We need if you will state for the record that was a unanimous vote, it needs to be unanimous.
Okay. On item number 11, approving the change County Road 2071 to private road 6085 was a unanimous vote by Commissioners Court. All 5 voted yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right, item number 12, discuss and if appropriate auction the following equipment for precinct 2. And if no bids received, items can be salvaged. We have a 1983 Mack pull truck, a 1999 Case 580 backhoe, a 2001 Mack dump truck, a 2001 Ford F-250 4x4 diesel, a 2003 Chevrolet 1500 extended cab 4x4, a 2010 Ford F-150 4x4 XL, and a 2012 Volvo G930B motor grader. And this is equipment that you're wanting to sell through auction company,
Yeah, auctioneer.
Auctioneer Express.
Okay, all of this equipment has pretty major issues. That 83 Mack truck, it's leaking oil everywhere, and it's got probably 100,000, a million miles on it. I'm about to say, I'm thinking it probably got 1 million miles on it. Ernest Matt, it's been wore out 2 drivers, and so it's that. And we have a real nice full truck that was purchased last year, I believe it was year before. So it's really in the way right now, and it's leaking. The seals are leaking on it and everything. The Case backhoe, it has the turbine is out on it, and we have a more modern. We have like a 2017 backhoe, which one backhoe. Once we purchased the Mini X back 20 somewhere, we didn't have as much use for a backhoe. Backhoe is kind of old style. Takes more time, but anyhow, we didn't need 2 backhoes. Mack, that old Mack dump truck, it's leaking, need the valve covers, and it's wore out. It was a wrecked dump truck that we put together and used for several years anyway. So we're in good shape. We got 2 good dump trucks. This stuff is more or less in the way, and it was from years and years ago. The Chevy 1500, well, it's excess. We don't drive it very much. We noticed that it's been sitting out.
Over 200,000 miles on it.
Yeah, but anyhow, we discovered that it in that 2010 Ford pickup, they sit there 98% of the time.
The one that's been on auction before.
Okay. I'm thinking that's that brown Ford. But anyhow, this 2010, we had it on the auction the last time we had salvage sale about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And nobody bid it on it, and we just need to get it out the yard. It need a motor. It's just sitting there collecting dust. Be probably for pennies. The Volvo, and that is the last Volvo in Newton County, and I think in Texas. That thing, they don't make them anymore, and they outdated. We had some wiring harness issues last year, and we was down over 6 months because the company that makes Volvo, they had to make us a wiring harness from the computer to the cab, and we spent another probably 14,000 thing with the regen system, so it just cost them way too much money, and we getting rid of it.
I make a motion that we approve the auctioning of the equipment from precinct 2 And if no bids are recovered, we approve the items to be salvaged by Commissioner White.
All right, motion is made by Commissioner Powell, second by Commissioner Benson. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right, item number 13 is going right along with that. Discuss of appropriate auction the following equipment, and no bids received. Some of this, it says items can be salvaged. We have a enclosed trailer from the sheriff's department. It's out at the old prison site. We have an enclosed trailer that county clerk's office used to haul voting machines, and it's in a shed. It's actually a really nice trailer, but it's not being used anymore. We have at precinct 3, we have a water tank, trailer, that the commissioners want to get rid of. Now, we have a Caterpillar 315 wheeled excavator. We need to put a reserve on that. And then we talked about, we've listed the mechanic's truck, and we'll also include it in this auction. And the wheeled excavator and the mechanic's truck with a reserve on it. So hopefully it'll sell with a reserve.
Judge, just a question. You guys mentioned the enclosed trailer from county clerk's office, and that it's a really nice trailer. Is that's not something we can use for a maintenance department or any?
It's what size trailer?
I just don't want to give it away. It sounds like it's a full trailer.
It takes a 3/4 ton truck. It's a big enclosed trailer that they use to haul the voting machines. It's sitting in a shed over there at underneath the water tower at the city. So it's been enclosed, its whole existence, but the county's had it. But it's not being used. It hadn't been used in years. So I'd say we just get rid of it.
We're going to the Auctioneer Express on this one too.
Yes.
I make that motion that the Auctioneer Express.
Yeah, what I plan on doing is including all this in one auction and use Auctioneer Express. All right, motion is made by Commissioner Benson. Seconded by Commissioner Hobson. All in favor? All against? All right, item number 14, discuss status and consider actions on path forward related to matters of FEMA assistance request for flash flooding event that occurred in 2024. And that's Commissioner Powell.
Yeah, so Judge, this item here, Mr. Norton spoke of it, just for clarity. I don't know, I can't say with any certainty what FEMA has required in the past, whether the money had to be spent before or, had to be fixed and then spent. I can only speak to this particular event. I think Ms. Moore was in the meeting and some others was in the meeting, but it was clear to us, and now we move forward that money does have to be spent. In fact, the FEMA task supervisor said that, the roads would likely not be fixed if they couldn't give us funding, which is exactly the case. But the reason I put this on here is because we're currently without a grant administrator. And we had the meeting with FEMA a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember who all was in that meeting. I think Commissioner White and Commissioner Hobson. But when we had that meeting, it was pretty obvious to me that there wasn't a lot of work remaining to move us to the next step. So we set a meeting up a week later. And in the next meeting, it was just myself, my assistant, and Gwen with FEMA. Within 10 minutes, we were done. We were moved from a holding pattern to the point of our 12 roads went to the CRC, they call it, which is the estimating group. And we had a lot of discussion around that. And all of the data in that system was actually uploaded in August of 2024 by the site inspector. It's, everything we did in the office, all of the handwritten notes, sketches, field pictures, GPS coordinates, mean, we measured the holes, we measured the road, and I'll say we did, me and my assistant and the site inspector. And the site inspector had all of our field notes uploaded, and then she had typed in some very detailed professional descriptions, you know, with latitude, longitude, GPS coordinates. It was all there. And we needed a certification letter from the judge's office. We got that. We needed our Newton County road maintenance procedure. We uploaded that, and we were done. I mean, we're at the point right now where all of our work is being, all of our requests are being estimated by the CRC, and they actually use estimates for contractors in our areas. So I had originally requested $597,000 based on what I thought the work would take. And the FEMA person said, you know, if you do that, then you're going to have to provide bids and all these other things. If you'll let us do the estimate, you don't have to provide anything. We'll go in, we'll do the estimate. We'll tell you how much money you're going to get to fix these roads. And we're going to send that to you. And if you want to protest it, then you can protest it. We'll go another route. And, but he said, I can assure you, looking at the damage and your estimate, you'll be better off with us doing the estimates. So, and I kind of do that little history, that little storybook, because where we're at right now, I feel like we're in a good place in Precinct 4, mainly due to the work of the site inspector. We had a really talented site inspector, and she did a tremendous amount of work for us. But, you know, the next step, what I don't want to have happen, I'm going to just be blunt, okay? I don't want us to hire another grant administrator and this thing sit dormant for weeks and months because we're not included in that process. When we found out these meetings were going on, we got in them, and all the commissioners were unaware that let me back up. I'm of the understanding that all of the commissioners was unaware that these meetings were going on. And now we're all eager to get to the next point. So,
Excuse me, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, you can ask Brother Mark down there, I asked Rachel 100 times when my site inspection comes, and I never got one. So I'm kind of in a different scenario than you are, because
Right, and I was aware of that. We actually talked about that in the meeting. And that's why I put this on here, because, you know, I think we got the very best scenario in Precinct 4 by happenstance. And then I think Phillip's close to us, and then you're somewhere else, and then Precinct 3 is left out. But I just don't want us to lose sight of it. I mean, I want us to, as a court, to say, I'm not talking about what we do with the grant administrator from here on out. I'm talking about this event, because there's a lot of money on the table for precincts 4, 1, and 2. How are we going to ensure that the commissioners are involved in every meeting and we're up on what needs to happen and engaged? That's what I wanted to talk about today. I don't have an answer. I'm really.
it's, well, Donna, Joe, and I, we had a meeting with that lady last week.
When?
This week, I think. So, if we were trying to get ours, we submitted to like 5 different times. Every time they change up there, they want us to resubmit.
And even from the meeting we had 2 weeks ago with the task manager, Steve was his name, because he was the one that come in, because I asked a question at the very beginning of the meeting, because it was told to me by our grant administrator at that present time that all the work has to be complete before we can get any funds.
Right.
So that was the first question asked. And she called in, she said, let me allow the task supervisor to answer that question. He come in, he said, oh, no, absolutely not. He said, you know, if that was the case, like this work would likely never get done. So, but he's going on to another project, so I'm saying that. Now that doesn't change what he said. It's just because I verified that with Gwen also. She's still in agreement with that, but there are a lot of changes is what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'd like to give the court, since I've been here the longest, I can probably go back and I recall things have changed along the way. I'm on in 19, still had Harvey and a lot of the other grants that were still floating around. The grant administrator at the time and the judge were the only two that was getting involved with grant management. commissioners was not even involved. It's- They had a question with us about our road name or mileage or whatever. But they handled all the business, so we didn't really know what the process was and, detail. And so, as we went forward, and we have a very, very reliable land administration, the Trailers Association. They have always looked out for Newton County, and they don't take hearsay. They make sure that whenever they inform us of what we need to do, it has always been true. I can't recall any time since 2019 that they faltered. So I have reason to believe that they're on top of what's required. And as far as your comments earlier, the requirement has changed quite a bit. Now, this situation, this project that we're under right now, that was from the flood in last year. It was May 10th, April. Anyhow, it's and I'm sure, and this is my perception of it, is that since the new president has taken away a lot of those FEMA grant funds and projects and whatnot, that these folks are trying to get us this money quicker than going through the old routine process. Because up until this recent statement from this young man you just talked about, you always had to work the project and send in all our receipts all the way down to a canceled check, bank, everything, all the documents showing that we put that on there, pictures, GPSs, and all the information that it took. And one of the things is that back in the day before in 18 and prior to that, FEMA would send their field auditors out here. Anytime we had a disaster or a major event, they would send their field auditors out here, a team of them. They'd get in the truck with the commissioners and drive down the road, and they did as-is what the damages were. They'll write down everything. They go back and make an assessment, and they would tell us how much they was giving us. In fact, I got some old grant papers, probably some of the ones that Morgan was dealing with. They from way back when, but they would send you a document telling you which road. They give it a project number and tell you which road, how many feet north and how wide and how deep and all of that. Tell you what type of material to use. Glauconite was the recommended down back during that time. And anyhow, what you would do is go ahead and fix that road, repair that road. And like I said, keep every man hours, equipment, everything that you use, and send it in to them. And then they will send you the money back. That's the way it was in the past, all down since I've been in the office up until this last. But as I was saying, and Mark Taylor, probably, I hope maybe you can come and sit in on one of our grant meetings that we have monthly or whenever we get another grant administrator. Next time we have a meeting, Mark over here, I'd like to explain to you that the projects have changed, even housing. Some of the housing projects, they got 2 or 3 different requirements. Depends on which project, which grant. But from one grant to the next, they're not all the same requirements now. But we take his recommendations and we do what we need to do as a court, follow up, make sure everything is done according to the requirements.
Since you're looking at being directed at me, I'm going to respond. And not be close to it, I'm going to respond. So do we know for a fact then that the procedure has changed recently from get your money first, get your money last?
We're getting informed from, I hadn't heard anyone from FEMA say that.
So I think I could weigh in on this, look to answer your question.
So I think what's happened now is a first, that now the commissioner's assistants and the commissioners are given access to the FEMA portal. And when we open the portal up, we find it to be user-friendly. We also find the different, you can enter the projects as a project completed or a project incomplete. If you go in and you enter that project as completed, then everything that Commissioner White described as what was done in the past is still required. If you entered it as a project uncompleted, then it shifts to, okay, show us how much, then they come out. What you described, what he described is exactly what happened in precinct 4. They come out, did exactly what he described, went back. But now what they did is, since we entered it as a project, an incomplete project, it moves from show us what you spent to here's what you need, here's what we're going to give you, then go fix the roads. And even with that, just a little bit more to that is, if you've already spent money on that, the money you spent on that, you don't have to re-spend on the roads. You can move that to supplement what you spent out of your budget. So, and they did say in the meeting that they are trying to become more, I don't want to say the word user-friendly, but they want to support the needs of the county more now than ever. And I'm sure it has something to do with the new administration.
I would just wonder, doing it wrong in the past, or has it changed present? That's
Sir.
I feel like it's evolving, changing. But I feel like in the future, anything to do with the roads and bridges and stuff, that any meeting with FEMA or TDM, I think all the commissioners need to be involved. They need to be in the meetings to share their thoughts and needs.
Yeah.
And I think, it's collaborative effort. I think everybody could get more out of it.
Yeah.
Or as a county, we could get more out of it.
So to Mr. Norton's question, and I appreciate your ownership of this, if that's the right word, but so my father was on court for many, many years, and I'm about that smart compared to him. So I trust that when he was on court with Truman Doherty and some guy named Prentice Hobson, that they did everything they could to get this money. But what I don't know is if the portal even existed at that time. But I do know up until 2 weeks ago, none of the commissioners nor their assistants had access to that portal. So if nothing else has changed, that is a huge change, that now that the commissioners and their assistants have access to look at the portal. Before, I'm not sure who in Newton County had that access, but we're in a better place. But I appreciate that. That's what I wanted from this action on Judge, is that, going forward, we're all there at every meeting, or at least invited to every meeting. And one more thing is, I would like for the court today to designate, because this is important, because there's a lot of, we need to designate one person in the county, one office, that from this moment on, when we leave here, they go contact Wynn and say, hey, here is your contact person. Here are all the people you CC on every email you send to Newton County. Because what's happening is, I've seen an email from Misty but to me, if Wynn's sending Commissioner Benson something on his road, she should send it to that point contact person and copy all of us. Because if we don't do anything else, we become more educated on what's going on. If I see what he's doing, I'm sitting there and going, oh, well, I didn't think about that. We could have done that, or we could have done this. And I don't know that we have to vote on that, Judge, but I just like for your office to take the lead and say, hey, somebody's going to contact Wynn, you and the DA figure that out, and whoever contacts her, here's a list. But I want to be on all of the communications, because what it appears to me like this is what Wynn said. A couple of things that's important. She said this. I said, Gwen, is this money still available? She said, oh, absolutely. She said, this money was designated for this project. There's still ample funds in it. And I said, okay. I said, so Newton County supposedly owes TDM some money, according to TDM. I said, we don't necessarily agree with that as a county, but that's what is out there. I said, is there any chance that when FEMA sends this money to TDM to manage the money distribution, that they could withhold it and say, no, you owe us money. She said, absolutely not. She said, this money is designated for this event. It cannot be used for any other event, regardless of the circumstance. She said, that will not happen, I can assure you.
Well, like the judge's office, sometimes we receive over 300 emails a day. So sometimes it gets lost. Sure.
And that's what we can't have. That's what we can have. I don't think that's what happened here because we have a grant administrator, but I just don't want to have that happen.
Yes.
And if everyone is copied, if Wynn says, if they said, Jane Doe is our contact person in Newton County, but here's 12 people that have to be CC'd on that. Well, if Jane Doe, for whatever reason, wins a lottery, 12 more people are going to get that same email and we're going to talk about it. That's what I want. It's a distribution list for Newton County for Gwen. And I'd like for Trailer and Associates to be on it.
I agree.
I think Trailer and what?
You don't manage.
Yeah, this is,
There's certain grants that Trailer and Associate doesn't, I mean, don't manage.
I understand that, but since I've been in office, no one that I have come in contact with is as knowledgeable
I agree.
as Mark Taylor, for Trailer and Associates.
You can be involved in every grant. That's the thing.
Or if we even hired him to be our grant administrator. Period. On all grants. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't know what we pay them now, but if we said, hey, here's an additional $20,000, you manage all the grants, and then somebody in Newton County does the desktop reviews, how much better off would we be? Just like right now. I mean,
Sure.
Ronnie,
yes.
this is Donna. What he said makes perfect sense. Because just like Jasper County, they have an outside grants writer. And they are paid from that grant for that grant.
Right.
And they just received $4 million and it's $1 million per precinct for equipment.
Yes, that's on the wildfire defense.
Yes.
We got the defense part, or the mitigation part as far as writing their plan, but they got the grant to purchase equipment. And then once we have our mitigation plan in place, then Newton County can go for some of the equipment too.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not sure who that is, but he came highly recommended.
okay, yeah, Mark Taylor's handling the part for the wildfire defense grant, but the grant come from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So, do we have any more discussion on?
I just hate it.
And I need to, precinct 3, when Commissioner Powell stated precinct 3 was, left out, and I just need to state, the previous commissioner chose not to file anything with FEMA as far as any damage, and, not sure if they had the damage or thought they didn't have enough, but that's the reason precinct 3 is left out of it.
yeah, and back to what Gwen said, she said that because I think, Mr. Norton brought up something about the past, and what Gwen has said, we're trying to streamline this process. She said, I wrote it down. Everyone else involved in this event has already got their money. I'm sorry, Newton County hasn't, but you should have had your money long ago. That's what she said. I wrote it down. And when you think about that, we got people driving around on roads that aren't repaired, and they're not repaired because we wasn't diligent as a county government body and got our money. Not pointing any fingers, but I mean, going forward, we need the grants have to be managed aggressively and precisely. That's FEMA saying you should have already got your money. Have you ever heard FEMA say that before?
All right, if there's no more discussion, we'll move on to item number 15, which is budget amendments. Sherry, do we have any budget amendments? All right, we have no budget amendments. Item number 16, which would be payment of bills.
General fund, $282,012.84. Road Bridge Precinct 2, $1,807.76. Commissioner Special Precinct 2. No. Commissioner Special Precinct 1, $10,939.64. Commissioner Special Precinct 2, $25,709.83. Commissioner Special Precinct 3, $6,585.30. Commissioner Special Precinct 4, $174,465.10. Solid Waste Disposal, $30.07. Newton County Library, $308.62. Store Operating, $437.75, and Technology Fund, $120. Total of all funds, $502,417.
Judge, for the record, I'd like to talk a little bit about that 174 Precinct 4. So we went out for bids on County Road 4181 in 2024. Went out for bids on that road 3 times, and each time only had one bid put in. We, as a court, voted to accept bid for $130,275. And the contractor in that bid included that they would do all the prep work on the road. They went out, did prep work, chip sealed the road. We refused to pay the bill, said the road was not prepped like it should have been. We worked with the county auditor and basically reached an agreement with the contractor that they would reseal the road and fog the road once we went back and my team went back and did all the prep work. It was the best place that I felt like we could be, because if we hadn't done that, we'd been in litigation for a long time with a road that was just not in good shape. So that 174, the 130,000 was for the chip sealing process, and $25,426 of that $174,000 was material and only material used to get that road ready for another chip seal. Since that time, they have went out and applied a new chip seal, and they're coming back to fog the road. But when we approve the bills today, we're going to hold that check until that fogging process is complete with the court's approval. So if you make this motion, I'd ask whoever makes it with the notion that the check for County Road 4181 is withheld until the final fogging process is applied.
Well, on the general fund expenditures, we had a payment to the appraisal district.
Had one for last quarter and then one for this quarter.
Yes.
It's
So-
all budgeted.
Yes, I just wanted everybody to know that
Yeah.
100 and, was it 68?
63.
163 out of the general fund. That was,
Now, there, which is budgeted. There's some big stuff.
yeah, it's like the 163 was to the appraisal district, and then we judicial district 30-something thousand. That's why the general fund was pretty high expenditures this month.
I noticed in this also, I know last time we had court, we had bill pay, auditor talked about, we had $22,000 that the judge was going to have to find money for. That's included in this.
17,000 of it is for 2024 and the rest of it is.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I talked with, and just real quickly, so we were talking about the PO system, and this come up. We talked about it last time. If we'd had the PO system, that wouldn't have happened. I went and visited with Judge Ashmore because she's got a lot of knowledge of this particular process. So when we get to our workshops and start talking about the PO system, when we get to that procedure development, that's why it's gonna be key to have every office in there represented so they can say, hey, wait a minute, we do this on a Saturday night, we can't get a PO, how do we work that sort of thing? So I just wanted to bring that up. Just work to do in the procedure, so we make sure everybody's.
Make a motion, we, pay the bills, except for the payment for repairs on County Road 1181.
We are gonna pay it, we're just gonna hold it until pay it, because if you say accept, that means we're not gonna approve it. So we are approving it, we're just holding the check until you give us the word. Fine?
Yes.
If not, we would remove it from the bill pay.
Yeah.
I think that's where it was going.
Okay. When you say accept, I'm like, whoa.
Okay. I second the motion.
All right, motion made by Commissioner White.
We got it.
Oh, yeah. What, second by Commissioner Powell. All in favor? All against? Okay, well, we gotta go over the bank depository. Ginger, it's your time.
Hope you got a record. Okay.
I'm just thankful that Stellar Bank, Community Bank, they wouldn't even look at us.
Really?
Out of bid. We've gotten a bid from Stellar Bank. And then the First Financial. But, and they did meet all the requirements. They were on time. They got them on time. And they do each have their good faith check. Their bid. They both have one of those, which they've met those. There's different little things, you know. First Financial don't charge us for checks. This bank would. The Stellar Bank has branches here, Buna, and People. I don't think that would be feasible for our people in Louisville to drive.
Yeah.
There's a Stellar Bank in Oakland now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because he didn't list it.
And they may be closing it out.
He just listed Kirbyville.
But the Mauriceville Bank is the one, I think, Melissa Burke.
Yes. First Financial for our counties.
Yeah. Our tax assessor collector is what I should have said.
Yeah.
But anyway, but I don't know if y'all want to take time to look at them or if y'all just
Well,
like my recommendation.
I'd like to say something. All right, with Stellar Bank, I use them personally and have for years, but the whole thing of it is they've changed names the last, yes. And every time they do, change your accounts, all that stuff, routing number and all that. And also, if we move everything for First Financial, then that means all of our money market, anything that we've got over there, we have to move. Correct, Ginger?
Yes, and that includes the district clerk, that includes the county clerk's accounts, the tax plant account.
Melissa's,
And First Financial.
you said the tax office is charged for checks and deposits.
One time, way back when Orange Savings Bank.
Bring that up.
What's the treasurer's recommendation?
Over First Financial Bank.
All right, I know Melissa he wrote on there, the tax office is charged for checks and deposit slip with First Financial.
Yes, she does get charged, but she gets refunded that money because I told her, you know, to go through our office and she won't be charged. And we've given her money back in her supply line. So I can get with her and talk to her about it and tell her. To come
Okay, I just
ready to order.
noticed that she's.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to go First Financial Bank.
All right, motion is made by Commissioner Hobson, second by Commissioner White. All in favor?
Thank y'all. And then
All against?
there'll be a letter I'll send out. It will be
Okay.
for accepting.
We got in boxes, put this back into.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give you more detailed history on,
Sir?
on what has happened with the grants. So they,
Oh, wait a minute.
oh, they had us all up there in Nacogdoches telling
Getting
us
ready to leave.
they weren't sending
We
any
had maybe close to the giant.
auditors out. That we had to input take pictures of our roads, put everything on the computer so that they can access it and make that final determination.
I'm thinking that.
Get more training.
Any update on?
The first one started. I haven't heard it. That was working. I think they got a call.
So that's why.
But I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
He's on the private road, notice people in maybe, it's been about 2 weeks ago. When you get back home, you.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
I can leave them.